Hey, whenever you're ready, let me know.
All right, are you guys ready for another live remote with my good buddy, Danny Regan from Hell Yeah BBQ? We're going to get started here in just a second. Here we go.
I'm Chris Davis with Cross Rifle Barbecue, and you are watching the So Smoking Gooder Show.
All righty then. What is up? Chris Davis from Cross Rifles Barbecue. I had found that file. I hadn't seen that file. I didn't know I had it, and I found it, so I'm glad I did. What's up, everybody? Good evening, Gooder Gang. You know what time it is. It is 8:05, a little past my bedtime and your bedtime. But yeah, it's 8:05, and you guys are watching the very best fake internet barbecue show on the planet, the So Smoking Gooder Show. I'm your host, Rob Arocha, and normally I'd be coming to you from the Bullhorn headquarters in Cypress, Texas. But no, we are on location. We are here at the site of the, well, maybe at the side of the Texas Association of First Responders Barbecue Cook-Off. We're out in Hockley, Texas. So we're doing a live remote. As you can see, I am Han Solo, but that is cool. I'm here with my good friend Danny Regan from Hell Yeah BBQ. How are you doing, Danny?
Good, buddy. How about you?
We're doing great, Bubba. Don't know who's calling me, so I got to decline that. Sorry if that's somebody watching on the show. I had to decline that. But yeah, so we're out here on location. We just had a head cooks meeting. There are some events that are so large where they actually have a head cooks meeting prior to the event, and this is one of those situations. The event is next weekend in Cypress, Texas, which is in my backyard, as you guys well know. So that is the Texas Association of First Responders. barbecue cook-off. There is still time to get in. If you want to get in, you can check out tafr.org. That's TAFR.org, or you can check out cb8bbq.com. We can get you signed up and entered. That's going to be a fun event. We just talked about having a bean entry, a seafood entry, a wild game entry, a margarita entry, a Bloody Mary entry. And then, of course, we still have all four: the chicken, the ribs, the pork, and the brisket, the normal stuff. So, Danny, let's talk about this event first. We're here supporting a first responders cook-off. Have you ever done this one before?
I have not, but as you know, I hung out with you whenever they had it in Magnolia, I'm going to say 2 or 3 years ago. Great event. Back then, the guest was the Houston guy that had got shot down in a helicopter. He was around that weekend.
I do remember
his
that.
Name.
Yep.
I apologize.
Yep.
He came around. He was in a wheelchair. Him and his wife came around. It was a great event, and just supports a great cause for sure.
Absolutely. So one of the first things I like to do is give a shout out to the people that are supporting us. So, of course, first in is Daddy Dutch Barbecue Kent. What is up? Mad Wood, what is up? I'm loving my YouTube peeps. Wes Reed, where y'all at? Wes Reed was just here. He still may be here. Paul Schindler, how you doing, young man? We've got, Han Solo. Johnny Maggs, my boy, Johnny Maggs. Of course, we got the VFW from Tomball watching. I love it. Jerry McCrory. You back in town yet, my man? Martin Ty Cobb. Love you, brother. Regardless of what happened last week, I'm just messing. I made a comment, or I highlighted a comment. Mark Suarez, what's up? Rockin' A. Michael Walker. I saw Michael Sistrux in the house. Judge Wepp. Carlos Calza. Oh, play the clip. Phil Breeden, play the clip. Check his mic. Can y'all not hear Danny?
Can y'all hear me?
We got Tom Fuentes, Derek Bernal, and, of course, my cornhole partner, which they probably calling us up again, Jeff Dennison. So last weekend we were at Tomball. Mike Reyes, what is up? We were at Tomball last weekend, and they had a cornhole tournament, which was great. I love it when events have stuff like that.
And you made it like 10 rounds, didn't you? In the losers division.
So you might be a little loud there. We'll see. So we went and we played, and we lost. And then we played again, double elimination, and then we lost again. And then we went back to do it again, and we lost again. And so they came back and said, hey, you guys are playing. I was like, what, again? And so a fourth time they came back and got us. And it wasn't your fault, Jeff. It was not your fault. But they came back and got us again.
Did they feel sorry for you, or why did you get 4 rounds in a double elimination? You never lost one, or you never won 1 round.
I know. Hey, shout out to Jeff Dennison with Texas Red Dirt Cookers. But yeah, we were partners, and Jeff and I were looking at each other. We're like, man, how many of these goddamn things we got to lose before we can get out of this tournament? So. Yeah, so we were doing that. This show sucks. Case Han Solo. Sorry, brother, we're on location.
Yeah.
So that event went very well. Last week for the Tomball VFW, we had a good time out there. As for Bullhorn, I always like to give you guys some insight of what we do. We finished 6th overall. We had a 4th place rib, and we were hovering outside the top 10. A couple 12th place and 111. So in that field, I was okay with it. I wasn't happy with it.
Yeah, you had a good.
But
cook.
I'm okay with it.
You had a good cook. I was there, and we knew your weakest category, but ended up being not too bad.
Yeah, Johnny Bag sounds like a double elimination. Absolutely. But yeah, if you guys, there's a lot of cool events. We'll go over that real quick in the bull printing wraps and graphics wrap-up recap of the winners, and then we'll do the Briscoe Ranch cook-off at the Crossroads upcoming event segment. I have slides, bro. I have slides. Danny asked me, is like, how did you learn all this stuff? I was like, YouTube.
Dude, this stuff is complex. Way more than just put a cell phone at your face and talk into it. So
pretty much
cool.
YouTube and watching my man Johnny Maggs do that. But before we get into Danny, because we are kind of on a time crunch, they may tell us get the hell out of here.
Or they may not.
But in case they do, I want to highlight. Let's not do that one yet. Let's do this one. This is the bull printing wraps and graphics wrap up recap. You know what? This did not look as small in my big old 40-inch television at home. But we're on a laptop right now, but I can read it. Okay, we're going to do the bull printing wraps and graphics wrap-up recap before we get into with my boy Danny. All right, so in the Champions Barbecue Alliance, Carfest was an event in San Antonio, Texas. The grand champion was Danny Patton from One Man Pits. Congratulations, Danny. The RGC was Mr. Clarence Joseph. He's been on the show. Of Mama
two
and
great teams.
Papa Joe's Barbecue. Absolutely. I love having some feedback here. In Tomball, our heroes wear combat boots at the Tomball VFW. Grand champion was Jeremy McMinn of Love Barbecue. I was happy to see Jeremy get that big call. Sure. There were a lot of quality cooks out there, which, as always, in Tomball there are. The RGC was Daniel Ramirez coming in hot, another quality cook.
Now, wasn't that contest the contest of the year for the CBA last year?
It was. Well, yeah. I think it was, yes.
I think it was, yeah.
Absolutely. Chillin' and Grillin' down in the Valley. Grand champion, Victor, actually, or was it Laredo, maybe? Grand champion was Victor Garcia from Uncle Vic's Barbecue. And the reserve grand champion was Fred Robles from Rio Valley Meats.
Who's that?
I know. A couple solid cooks as well. I love talking to Victor. I love hanging out with him when I can. It's awesome. All right, here we go. And in the IBC, the Cleveland Livestock Show and Rodeo Barbecue Cook-Off in Cleveland, Texas, the grand champion was Brian Fox, just smoking around. What's up, Brian? Congratulations.
Somebody just died.
we are on location. That's what happens. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but we are. I think you can, because I can hear it in my headphones. I can hear that.
Get ready.
In my. All right, Michael Tex Olson's in the house. We'll talk about his event here in just a minute.
Yeah, he's got a good one coming up.
Yes, it does. All right, the reserve grand champion was Bill Manning from Blue Smoke Barbecue. Congratulations. Fire in the Hole. Grand champion. Winston Kimball from No Bore Barbecue. I'm sorry, that was wrong. The grand champion was Jacob Carrizales from J&M Cookers. The RGC was Michael Valdez from Smokin' Pops Barbecue. Again, this is very small, guys. Oh, you know what? I can blow this up real quick. Here we go. Orange Grove Volunteer Fire Department. The grand champion was Weston Kimball from No Bore Barbecue. The RGC was Felix Perez, Blowin' Smoke. Stockdale CFC Just Ranchin'. Grand champion Dwayne Garber, J Sauce and Seasonings. The RGC, our friend Marcus Gonzalez from Stacks Barbecue. Congratulations. And out in my neck of the woods in Cypress, Texas, the Veterans of Foreign War VFW Post 8905 Grand champion Dustin's son Corbin Stone from Smoking Donkeys. And the RGC was Adam Martinez. Get up, Chucky.
Get up, Chucky. Damn
if I'm Poe. And in the Outlaw Barbecue Association, yes, sir. Grand champion, it was Cody Allenbar from CA Barbecue. Reserve grand champion, he can't see it, but I know, James Dodson, Limp Brisket. All right, guys, congratulations to all the winners. What's up, James Powell? How you guys doing? Kent's going double duty. I like it. He's trying to get up Alo Almazana. What's up, Bubba? How are you guys doing? Carlos Calzada. And then Case Hahn. I get a shout out. Mm-hmm. Bill Purvis in the house. They want to be on the show. All right. Well, that was the bull printing wraps and graphics wrap-up recap. And before we get to Danny, there's a lot of events coming up this weekend. And it is Easter weekend.
Everybody likes to cook whenever the weather's cool. You know,
the weather is cool. No
July
kidding.
And August, it sucks.
I am not a fan.
No, me neither.
I am not a fan. Well, that's the wrap up recap. Let me get rid of that again. What are we doing here? There we go. Let's blow this up so I can read it. Okay. Yeah, I'm not a fan of cooking in the summer. How about you, Bub?
Ooh, man, July and August are brutal, man. You can even June can be brutal, but if you can suffer through June, July and August for me is a hard stop. Unless you're chasing points or you think you can't get anything like, you know, in your backyard or wherever in the fall. But there's so many great cooks nowadays in Texas, or even if you're willing to travel, that you can cook in the fall, you can cook in the spring. You don't have to suffer during July and August, man. It's brutal. And for all y'all out there that do it, then my hat's off to you, man.
Absolutely. I was doing it for a long, long time without air conditioning. I do have air conditioning, but even with the AC in the trailer, I'm still going to back off in the summer. It's just hot, man.
Well, and how many of us stay in the trailer all day? None of us.
None,
We're all outside, mingling, having a couple cold beers, whatever, talking to everybody. But, yes, you go back inside to slice your meats and box everything up. And besides that, you're outside.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about these. This is the Briscoe Ranch Cook-Off at the Crossroads in Uvalde, Texas. Have you done it before?
I have. Actually, you and I were there one year when it was brutally cold.
Yes.
It was so freaking cold. But, man, it came together. You just pack your Carhartts and you prepare for it. You just know that that's going to be a cold contest no matter what.
Yeah, Daddy Dutch is saying brutal. Iowa in January is brutal for barbecue. I believe that.
I grew up in Kansas City, so I know what it's like to be below zero. And, I moved to Houston. Cold hurts, and that's what I tell everybody back home. Cold hurts. Hot is just uncomfortable.
All right, well, let's talk about this. We got a lot of events. Even though it is Easter, we got, I'm looking at least 8 of 6 or so events in the Champions Barbecue Alliance, the McGregor Lions Club Barrels and Barbecue doubleheader. It is a state championship. It's in Waco, Texas. The promoter is in the house. I just saw him. Where we at? He said he was here.
Right there, you just missed him.
Did I miss him?
I thought you did. Nope.
Well, I will get him back up there, but Michael Olson is in the house. If you have questions about this event, post them in there, and he will answer them. He is, like I said, he is in the house.
And I believe I've done a couple of contests that he's been the promoter of, and I might be wrong, but I'm quite certain I have, and always ran flawlessly. Just great contests by Tex.
He is a great promoter, and he does a great job, and I'm looking forward to it. I've done this event before, but this is the first year event for Champions Barbecue Alliance.
Yes.
It is a double. It is in Waco. It's a great facility, and it's a state championship. So come on, guys. We do need still some teams, so come on out. If you got any questions about it, you can hit up Mike in the comments, or you can go to CBABBQ.com to get more information on that. All right, that's in Waco. That is coming up this weekend. Saturday and Sunday, doubleheader. All right, the 3rd annual Los Cañados benefit in Weslaco, Texas, going on this weekend. Buckle Down South, another fun event. Great contest with a great stage and a lot of performers. That's going to be in New Caney, Texas. You can all of those 3 events on the top of the list there. You can check out CBABBQ.com to get registered or for more information. All right, IBCA has one event this weekend, and is it Elgin or Elgin?
I think it's Elgin. In my northern/southern slang, I think it's Elgin, but Michael Olson also just put both days you can cook. You don't have to cook both. You can cook one, or you can cook one or the other, or you can cook both. So that's good to know.
If you want to do Saturday and or Sunday, that is an option for you both days.
Screw you, Kevin Caldwell.
Each day is its own competition. That's right. All right, so in Elgin, I think we're going to go with Elgin.
I think so. Until we're proven wrong.
Until somebody comes in the comments. Let's go. Elgin is the Elgin VFW and Auxiliary 6115 in Elgin, Texas. That is IBCA. You can go to ibca.org. I think that's the website.
I think it is.
Check it out. And then the Outlaw Barbecue Association. Yes. Case right now would be going.
Yeah, Case would be loving that.
I love it. I love it when he does that. All right, that first event has been postponed. That Silver Spur Resort is not happening, so don't go to Concan. But they do have one in Laguna Park, Texas, called Something's Burning. All right. Oh, it is gin, or is that gin?
Oh, see, we have multiple. We have conflicting interests.
It's not
on this
Elgin. It's Elgin. I don't know.
It's Gin. I got Heather McWilliams says it's Gin.
That's Heath.
Oh.
Why you? It's 20. Oh. It's 2020. Come on, man.
Fuck, I've had 100 beers tonight. So.
No, it's not. It's 2022. All right. So that's going to be the upcoming event segment sponsored by the Uvalde Cook-Off, which is the Briscoe Ranch Cook-Off at the Crossroads in Uvalde. Texas, you can find more information on that at UvaldeBarbecue.com. If Case were here, he would tell you about the venue, the people that run it. It's always a great event. Danny, you did a great job. Give one more review of your experience at the Uvalde. Sorry.
Oh, Uvalde it's just golly, it slipped my mind. What's his name that runs it?
Wade Carpenter.
Wade runs a great event. It is everybody's basically on asphalt unless you want to be in the grass. And it's just a lot of money added. He does a lot with the community as far as getting good judges in there. It's just a really good event. It's one of them that you really look forward to kind of towards the end of the year.
All right. English is there. He's talking smack. Talking smack. Guys, can y'all hear us okay? I think you can. We sound good in the headphones.
I always sound good. I
don't
have headphones on either.
All righty then. Let's do a quick sponsor spot. And y'all might notice something different about the sponsor spot. Maybe you do. Maybe you don't. But here we go. Shout out to our great sponsors, Rec Tech, Cosmos Q Products, Texas Pepper Jelly, Briscoe Ranch Cook-Off at the Crossroads, LC Barbecue, Rick's RV Rental and Repair, Eureka Heights Brew Company, Chicken Fried Barbecue Grinds, Jay Harding and Company, Texas Oil Dust, Bull Printing, Wraps and Graphics, and the Barbecue Store in Hempstead. Thank you for supporting the So Smokin' Gooder Show. All right, yes, that was a new sponsor spot. I hope you guys liked that or noticed it. New music. I recorded something new today.
Kind of had a little pizzazz.
Right before I came out here. I'm actually thinking about doing the upcoming event segment and the Bull Printing Wraps and Graphics pre-recorded to some music.
I like that.
To have that done and clearly spoken. All right, guys. Yeah, new voiceover. Thank you, Daddy Dutch, for noticing. I appreciate that. All right, let's get to the man of the hour. He's been sitting here the whole time. He's enjoying being a little co-host for the evening, but he's not only the co-host of the evening, he is the guest of the night. Shout out to Renee Gonzalez, hashtag Blow and Smoke AP Rub. This is not a So Smoking Gooder show without a hashtag Blow and Smoke AP Rub, so I appreciate you stepping in. All right, Danny Regan, introduce yourself, please, and where you from, how'd you get started, do the whole intro before we get into some questions for you, my man.
I'll try to keep this part small, but my name's Danny Regan. Hell Yeah BBQ is my competition team from Kansas City. Actually, Kansas City area, not actually Kansas City. Got started in barbecue because I am a very competitive person. I have to have competition in my life. So at about age 25, I started riding bulls professionally. Rode all over the country for about 8 years. That's a long story. But regardless, after that, I got out of that. Got hurt pretty bad. Needed to have something else competitive to do, so I rode four-wheelers. Traveled all over the country racing four-wheelers. Won a national championship in 2008.
Nice.
Had some very, very big sponsorships back then, and had a sponsor back out that was supposed to give me a lot of money and blah blah blah. So instead of fighting a lawsuit, I just sold everything, got out of four-wheelers. And then my ex-wife said, "Hey, you need to find something to do. You know, you're going stir crazy in the house." So I was watching football, flipping through the channels on a Sunday, and as most of us get into it, Barbecue Pitmasters popped up.
Yeah.
And I started watching that, and I said, "Man, this is really damn cool. I didn't know there was a way to compete at that." Because I've been competitive my whole life. You know, high school, baseball, basketball, football, track, all that fun stuff. So then It's when Rod Gray won it with Pellet Envy. So Google Rod Gray, boom, his name pops up. He's got a class in like a month in Kansas City. I was living in Dallas at the time. Said, screw it, I'm going to do this. So I go to Rod Gray's class in 2005 or 6. I don't even own a pit. Don't even own a pit. I don't even own a knife, an injector, nothing. I go to this class, and I am in love with competition barbecue. And it's
Hold up, let's back up. So you were not competing at this point. You just saw the show, and then you saw the guy on television. So you looked him up, and you see he has a class.
I did. It was really strange, really cool at the same time. I needed something to compete in. I've always been competitive in my life, and I see barbecue pitmasters, and I'm like, well, this is pretty cool. So throughout the next month or so, I start seeing every Sunday barbecue pitmasters comes up. I'm like, you know what, this is really cool, I need to do this. And I literally Google his name, see he has a class in a month, and within that month, within that month, like I said, don't even own a pit. I don't own a brisket knife. I don't own an injector. I don't know nothing. Matter of fact, when I went to Rod's class, this is no lie, I didn't know the difference between the point and the flat. Had no clue. I didn't know there was a membrane on the back of the ribs. I didn't know what a money muscle was. I didn't know shit. So I go to this class, and I call my ex-wife, and I say, hey, this is what I'm doing. And she's like, well, good. I'm glad you found something cool.
Why'd you call your ex-wife?
Well, she was my wife at the time, Dick.
I never call my ex-wife.
Anyway.
I don't have an ex-wife. So.
I said, this is really cool. And I'm one of them guys that I jump both feet in at one time.
Yep.
If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it to the max, and I'm going to try to win, and I'm going to get, spend money on the best equipment. I'm going to spend money on the best classes, all that stuff. So I literally got in by watching TV. And I think that was January of 2006. I was trying to think of it earlier.
No way. I think
or 16. Excuse me. 16.
Yeah.
Pardon me. 2016, because I immediately ordered my Jambo and talked to Jamie Gear, and Jamie had just won something on Pitmasters. And I called Jamie. Actually, I called another company, and they won't return my call. So I called Jamie. Jamie calls me right back, and he says, hey, my waiting list is about a year. That had to be 15 then, because I started cooking in 16. But regardless, Jamie calls me back, and I said, I want a pet. He's like, man, if you'd have called me 2 weeks ago before all this stuff came out, I had about a 6-month waiting list. Right now, I have about a year. I said, dude, I'm sending you money tomorrow. So jumped in, bought what I consider the best pit on the market, and just have been in love with it ever since. And matter of fact, my girlfriend, she the other day, she goes, do you ever not think about barbecue? And I'm like, no, I really don't. I mean, there's every day I think about it in some aspect, some way, shape, or form. I think about barbecue. And I don't think about backyard barbecue. I think about competing.
Right.
So it all started with basically pitmasters.
That's crazy that you did not know about barbecue, really, at that point. And you
didn't know what a pit, what a flat or a point was before I went to Rod's class.
So you're sitting here banged up from bull riding, banged up from four-wheeling, and you're like, what else can I fucking do?
Right.
And you see these fat guys on TV that are winning money.
Yeah.
And so you
Shout
go.
out to Rod Gray.
I didn't call you fat, Rod. But
But hey, proof's in the pudding, man.
But so you call these guys, and you went in without having any kind of knowledge or history, or most of these guys that take class have some background.
I didn't know.
You went the complete opposite, which I think is smart, honestly, because we spend all kinds of time, money, effort, frustrations, tears, joys, all of this before. All right, hey, maybe I should take a class. You just went the opposite route. You said, okay, I want to do this, so let's go with this guy who I just saw is an accomplished cook. Looked him up. He's got classes. That's pretty smart, honestly. That's probably the smartest thing to do.
I think so, and I look back on it, and I wouldn't have done anything different because, number one, if you really get into the sport, like seriously, you're gonna drop 20 grand At minimum, you're going to drop 20 grand if you want to get into it serious. So if you want to cook 1 or 2 events a year, then you might drop a couple grand. But if you're going to get into it seriously, you're going to drop a lot of money. And I looked at it that way. I've owned several businesses in my life, and I've always tried to work the least amount and make the most money. And I kind of thought the same thing with barbecue, is that I don't want to go through the learning curve. There's people out there that have been through the learning curve. There's people that have made sauces, made rubs, won the world, all that stuff, and they put on good classes. And I'm like, you know what? There's no reason for me to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
So I'm going to spend money on the front end, and hopefully it pays off on the back end.
And how's that worked out for you now? Because
well, none of us ever make our money back. But if I could give advice to anybody that is new, I would say before you do anything, take a class and know that if you want to be serious with it. There's a lot of people that are not serious, and Case is watching tonight, and I'm not picking on Case by any means, but Case has never been that mad at barbecue to really worry about it. Case and Jaybird, and Jaybird shows up with raw chicken, or frozen chicken. They don't really.
And no clothes.
Yeah, no clothes. Can I show you a picture?
No.
Anyway,
this is not. Well, it is on Twitch, but
they don't. They're not really that mad about barbecue to think about it 24/7 and to look at notes and take notes and do it all, the way it takes to win. And they're there to have fun and just do their thing. That's never been me. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it the best of my ability. I'm going to exhaust my resources. I'm going to do everything that it takes for me to become better.
Right.
So I would tell anybody that's young, that's really starting out, or I don't want to say young, just new into competition barbecue. If you want to do this more than once or twice a year, 2 or 3 times a year, think about taking a good quality class, because it puts you light years ahead. Just think about if there was no barbecue classes. None. Nobody ever got to take a class. Can you imagine how long it would take people to, become competitive, become, a threat for a points championship or anything like that? So I thought of it like that in the beginning. Not
only can I imagine it, that's kind of where I was. When I started in 2012, there were no classes. There was no YouTube telling you how to trim. There was no guys that would say, hey, you want to learn how to trim this? Come over to my camp. There was none of that going on.
Exactly.
It was everybody was close to the vest. We talked about it on other shows.
Yep.
It was close to the vest. They didn't want to share anything. It was dog eat dog work. You go out there, and if you fail, you fail. If you win, you win. And then you take your notes, and however you did, you maybe applied it to the next week, or you didn't. That's how you learned. Now, coming listening to this story, I didn't know that. I didn't know you just kind of saw a guy on television. You said, let's look him up, and he happened to have a class, and you took it. That's brilliant, man.
I had to find something that was competitive, because I've done that, like I said, my entire life. And whenever I did find barbecue, and the cool thing about barbecue nowadays, like you just said, before 5, 6, 7 years ago, whatever, it was all the cards were held towards the vest.
Yep.
You've got people nowadays that will invite you into their camp. Yourself, Phil, Bill Purvis, Carissa Smith, Robert Smith. There's a lot of people that will just tell you anything you want to know, and it's so much now like a family versus a few years back. Like you say, it used to be very guarded. Everybody had secrets, and nowadays you walk up to somebody and most people will be just like, come on. They'll tell you what you need to know. They might not give you the secret, but they're gonna help you along. I mean, if you're new, they're gonna help you.
It's different. I mean, like, what did I say in this meeting earlier?
Yeah, you said anybody that doesn't know, because here at Taffer, there's a lot of local people competing, not this weekend, but the following weekend.
Yeah, next week.
And there's a lot of people that had questions, and very simple questions, but people like us, they were like mundane questions. But you said, hey, 2:00 on Friday, I'll show y'all how to trim a pork butt.
Yep.
You
had an ant on the microphone. We are remote in Hockley, Texas. Danny, that's really cool what you said, man, and that's some good advice. Somebody said, yeah, that is some really good advice. I think I think so. Tell us everything they told you. Yeah, no. So you have taken, like Brian, alluded to, you have taken some different classes and whatnot. So we're going to go over that.
I have, yes.
We're going to get to that in just a second. Actually, let's do that right now. You have taken some multiple classes, not just one. Why do you do that? Does it bother? Does it mess with your head at all? Or is there something that you take from each one and apply it to what you're doing? Because if I were to take, 3 or 4 that I really liked, and obviously these guys are successful or they would not be doing classes, it would kind of mess with my head. And I used to be that cook. You remember being in my trailer where I'd be like, what are we doing today? Right?
For sure. Oh, God, Rob, you used to drive me crazy. Because everything, so I'm going to go ahead and just go on my spiel right here. Everything you used to do was totally different from contest to contest. Everything I have in my trailer is on a spreadsheet. And you've been in my trailer. You've seen I have now it's 4 meat categories. Everything from top to bottom. I have a Excel spreadsheet on my timelines. And when I light my pit, it's not 6 o'clock. If I'm going to light my pit at 6, it's not 5:55. It's not 6:05. It's
6
at
o'clock.
6.
Yeah.
I do. And when I'm supposed to spritz at 12:01 or 12 o'clock, I spritz at 12. I don't spritz at 12:01. I don't spritz at 11:55. So that's just my ADD that kicks in. But it used to drive me crazy whenever I'd show up to your trailer and you would be, you'd have just shit flying everywhere, and I'm like, what is this? Oh, it's a new rub that I found. I'm like, God dang, man.
And that I wasn't as good. I mean, I'm not saying I'm great, but I'm better. I wasn't as good as I was then because you.
And I told you that.
Yeah,
I actually told you that. I said as soon as you get more consistent, you will become better. And obviously, it's not my success, but I told you that. And once you started doing that, you've become a top contender for sure.
Well, I think when the more you eliminate variables, get out of here. Good to see you. I'll see you next week.
Got a guest.
I'll see you next week. Looking forward to it. Yes. TAFR, Texas Association of First Responders. Yeah, but once you eliminate some of those other variables to where you don't give yourself that option. Now, I used to have a whole bunch of stuff in my cabinet to where I'd be like, okay, this might be good today.
Yeah.
I don't do that anymore. It's on schedule.
You need to have for the
most part.
Yeah. For the most part, you need to have your
Buddy Yen from Texas Association of First Responders.
I'm just coming to say bye. Thanks for everything you're doing.
I appreciate it.
Appreciate
buddy.
it. Thanks
We're here hoping
he's a
to
celebrity.
get some people out here, bro.
I was once.
He's talking about me.
No, he is. He doesn't have a baseball card.
This is a minor league. Well,
Yeah.
he has a bull riding card.
Oh, Jesus. I don't know.
Yeah, I still have mine actually.
Pro baseball, pro rodeo.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
And he can still walk.
Oh, barely.
Barely.
I'm fucking old now.
That's why he cooks barbecue.
And he's got that fucking LSU koozie over there.
Go
that
Tigers.
says a lot. I played at Lafayette, Raging King.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Not bad.
Cool.
But hey, I think appreciate everything y'all are doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
We'll
it's
see
great.
you next weekend.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, that was a hell of a awakening at 4 o'clock.
Hey, stripper pole still in?
Absolutely.
All right.
Flagpole.
It's a flagpole. It's the flagpole. Okay. All right. Sorry. That was Buddy Yen from Ponderosa Fire Department. They're going to have a big, huge tent.
Yeah.
And a flagpole in the middle of the tent. So I'm sorry. Where were we about to? So I was talking about how I've streamlined. I don't bring all this other stuff. Yeah, Kevin said your style is crazy, but good, but crazy. Yes.
And that works for me.
changed.
And I don't want to tell everybody that you have to be as stringent as what I do. And you've been in my camper, Rob. I've got a folder that is full of notes from every contest I've ever cooked, every class I've ever taken. We were talking about classes earlier. Remind me to go back to that.
Yep.
All of that stuff. But that works for me. That might not work for the person like that wouldn't work for Case. And like I said, I'm not picking on Case, but Case doesn't hate competition barbecue as bad as I do. I want to win. Or the person that goes to 2 or 3 a year, that's not going to work for them. It works for me. And if I didn't do it, it would drive me freaking insane.
All right, we're gonna have to speed this. I feel like people are leaving, and
For sure.
not people online, but people out here. All right, so I had some notes of what I wanted to ask you. How'd you find your way from KC to Louisiana? What is this big infatuation?
So
with Louisiana?
the guy that I refer to as my dad, Kevin, he is he's from Louisiana, and whenever I lived in Kansas City, I would come down every weekend and work on his horses. So every other weekend, I would drive to Houston from Kansas City and work on his horses, and his whole family is ate up with LSU.
Okay.
So living in Kansas City, you don't really have a collegiate team to root for.
Yeah.
We do in basketball, which obviously KU won the national championship this
Right.
year. But in football, you really don't. So it was kind of like osmosis, because I would go down every weekend and hang out with those guys, and everything was LSU. Everything was LSU. So we would go to the bar and root for the LSU Tigers on football. And it just got to be to where I was like, hey, who are the Tigers playing this weekend? Well, they're playing, McMurray State. All right, well, who are they playing next weekend? Well, next weekend they're playing Bama. Okay, well, I'm going to postpone my trip to come down till next weekend so we can watch the Bama game, So I got to where it just became osmosis, and now I'm ate up with LSU football.
Awesome. Yeah, obviously your team name
my
is Hell
team
Yeah
colors, yeah.
Team colors are you got LSU doormats and
Yep.
and underwear and all that other shit. So it's really cool. All right, so you cooked before. You said started in 2016, and
Yes.
you took this hiatus. But prior to the hiatus, what was one of your better moments or one of your best moments in barbecue at this point?
So before the hiatus, I probably have two combined. I've been second 2 years in a row at Humble when they were both KCBS. I was a 178.9, somewhere around there, in pork. And Ernest Cervantes beat me with a 180.
Nice.
And I'm just a no-name guy, And I did that 2 years in a row. I was cooking with a different team and was second in pork at KCBS in Humble as well. And then I was reserve grand champion at Alvin Music Fest, I think 3 years ago. I would have to go back and check the dates, but regardless. And there was 167 teams there.
Yeah.
And I was like fourth or fifth in chicken, fourth or fifth in ribs, something like that. But
Did you whoop Stacy's ass there?
of course. Everybody whipped Stacy's ass. I hope Stacy's watching.
I need a dollar. No, he's a great cook in his own right, for sure. All right,
sure.
so you did you took a hiatus. What led up to that, and why did you have to take that hiatus?
So I sold. So my goal was to have a new trailer built.
Yep.
And that was right before COVID, like the January of COVID. So I sell my trailer, I sell my toy hauler, and I'm getting ready to have a trailer built, and steel goes through the roof. I mean, everything goes through the roof.
Oh, yeah.
But steel goes through the roof, and I'm like, holy crap. So I can't afford to have this, $30,000 trailer built, because now it's $50,000.
Right.
So, and we're still managing the COVID aspect at this time. But, back when it first hit, everything shut down. My job, I'm a commission salesperson. So my job took a big hit. I'd already sold my trailer, steel went through the roof. So all of that fun
It's
stuff.
not CB Barboza.
What is it?
He said your other beer's still full. Nope.
No, long gone.
No, we drink quick here.
Yeah. So anyway, a lot of financial issues and a lot of just, I didn't have a trailer to haul my Jammo around in. So all of that led up to me taking about 2 years off.
Yeah.
So I haven't really cooked since basically 2019.
All right. So yeah, Kevin,
A little bit in 20, but not a lot.
Kevin kind of Caldwell. He kind of alludes to it. He said classes are great. So is 2 years of assisting. So you were. So you have been. You've been. To me, I loved it because while you were off, you were kind of my guy. That you kind of came in the trailer, and
For sure.
we did
I
some
still
things together.
loved the competition aspect of barbecue, and still came to the contest and hang out with people like Kevin and yourself and anybody else that would have me. No, Kevin, I was not shigging the entire time. I was actually just hanging out, having a good time. But it was the funny part is when I left rodeo, when I left bull riding, I left it for good. I've never opened my gear bag. Whenever they brought my gear bag to the emergency room, I've still never opened it.
Yeah.
I can't look back on that part of my life. Whenever I got out of racing four-wheelers, I sold my four-wheelers. I was done with it. When I got out of barbecue for a couple of years, I still craved it. I still craved, mostly I craved the people.
You allude to what happened rodeoing.
Well, rodeo, I broke everything in my body. This shoulder has 6 screws in it. I broke my shoulder. I broke my jaw. And I knew I broke my back, broke my neck.
Holy shit, in one ride?
No, not
Oh,
one ride.
I was gonna say.
Throughout 8 years. But throughout those 8 years and all those bad wrecks, I knew I was coming back. I was like, all right, people would come visit me in the emergency room. I'm like, hey, get my plane ticket ready for next weekend. I'm rodeoing next weekend. When I broke my arm, and it was a bad break, and they took me out. They took me to the hospital in an ambulance.
Was it from a landing or what?
No, I was on the side of a really, really good bull, and he was really close to the fence, and I was hanging on kind of for dear life, just waiting for that whistle, and he slammed me into the gate, and my arm, I still got a bad scar on this arm, my arm goes through the gate, and it snaps. It absolutely just snaps and folds over. And I've been through fractured back, ribs, broke my jaw, broke my back, broke my neck, broke skull, dislocated this shoulder 6 times. I've been through all that, and I knew I was coming back every time. When this bull broke my arm and my buddies brought my, they take you to the hospital and your buddies come to the hospital. They brought my gear bag with my, with my bull rope and everything in it. I'm bawling like a 3-year-old that shit his pants on the playground, man. I'm crying, and my buddy goes, "What are you doing? What's wrong?" And I said, "This is it.
You knew it.
I knew I was never coming back." Now, granted, I got into riding bulls a little bit late in life, but I knew I wasn't coming back from that. And just something clicked that that's your last bull you ever be on. But going back to the barbecue part, whenever I sold my stuff and realized, oh shit, I can't afford a new one, and I got rid of my old stuff, I still craved barbecue. I still craved the people mostly. Hanging out with you and, Kevin and Robert Smith and Adam Martinez and all of us that hang out, Dirty Underwear Gang, all of us that hang out. I miss that. I really did. I really miss that. So that's kind of what has kept my fire going to keep coming back.
All right, let me give a shout out. Mama and Papa Joe's in the house. We're royalty right there. Reserve Grand Champion Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, and
reserved last weekend, if I'm not mistaken.
Reserved. We just highlighted. You missed it, Mama and Papa Joe. Clarence, you missed it. All right, so during your hiatus, this has been a great interview, by the way. I feel like this has been like a
see, we have like 39 people watching. I was like, I figured it'd be like 3.
No, it's been really good. But yeah, we've learned a lot of insight into you. I know. So during this hiatus, a couple questions. I'm going to do a 3-part deal. I'll have 3 of them, but I'm going to say, have you noticed anything different in the 2 years you took off? Have you noticed some new faces in barbecue during this time? And, after sitting back and watching, did you take anything away from maybe what your old processes were versus your new processes? Because, barbecue, we talk about it all the time, is cyclical. What works, 6 months for a good solid 6 months, in the next 6 months, you're like, what the hell? What's going on here? But it changes, right? The flavors change, the judges change. COVID, I think, had a lot to do with.
I totally agree.
The taste of judges out there. So, did you learn? What did you take away after them 2 years?
I think being off for a couple of years and then going through the COVID aspect, I think COVID actually has changed. And people can call me bullshit, whatever. I think COVID has changed people's profiles. My mom caught COVID early. In like 2020, like January, she caught it, and she told me the first thing that changed was her taste buds as well as her smell. So she still to this day tells me that she doesn't taste the way that she used to taste. And I think, and also, so my brother owns a company that I work for, and Ronnie Killen's Barbecue, shout out. He was giving away free barbecue to all first responders. So my brother said, hey, once a week to support Ronnie, why don't we go eat barbecue there? Outstanding, by the way. And I think a lot of people did that during COVID. they started eating at like their local favorite restaurant, whether it's Killen's, whether it's Franklin's, whether it's First Class, whether it's Caleb Borden's, whatever it was. They started eating, and that's what they now perceive as what they want to taste.
Yep.
As well as COVID changing their taste buds. And I will swear to it that the people, and if you look back, this goes into the second part of your question. If you look back at the people from 5 or 6 years ago, there was a handful of people on top, maybe a handful. Nowadays, there's a ton of people. You go to a 20-team contest 6 years ago. If you were good, you knew you were probably competing for the top spot.
Cream always rises to the top.
And nowadays, if you go to a 20-team contest, you might not know where you're going to place.
There's a lot of creamer in
that.
There's a lot of creamer in that
nowadays.
cup.
For sure, there's a lot of cream.
Yes.
And I think COVID did have something to do with that. And whether it's the taste buds have changed, or they're used to eating Spring Creek, or Ernest Cervantes, or whatever they're used to eating at, that now that's what they compare it to.
Yep.
So, and I think that you have to be pliable nowadays more than ever. I think you have to be willing to change your profile. You look at the sauces, and I'm not going to name any names, but there were certain sauces that were winning 5 or 6 years ago.
Yep.
Everybody had them in their profile. Nowadays, those sauces are not necessarily on top. You might talk to somebody that uses, just as a stupid example, like a Sweet Baby Ray's, because that profile has changed. And I think you have to be pliable. You have to be, don't be bullheaded. Change your shit. If you're not winning, figure out why. And I think COVID has had something to do with that, in my opinion.
I agree 100%. A lot of us cooks don't like to change either. I mean, we don't like to, because hey man, it was just had a nice streak on this stuff. I don't want to change. I'm going to keep running and beating my head and then getting these bad comments.
I'm telling you, I have ran the same, and you and I have competed side by side this entire year. I have ran the same chicken profile, same exact everything since I started. And as you know, they have been kicking my ass. My chicken's my worst category. And everybody says, too spicy, too spicy, too spicy. For some reason, that profile used to win. And actually, chicken, I think it's yours. Mine's in my truck. I think it's his. My chicken profile, chicken used to be one of my best categories, and I can't win on chicken now. And I think a lot of that, it has to do with what we just talked about.
Yeah, no, I hate to wrap this up, but we're getting close to an hour, and because I could talk to Danny. You and I have been cooking in the same trailer for the last 2 years, and I'm learning so much more about how you got started and all this stuff. And you've been a great interview. This has been a great show.
Still have 34. Man. I figured we done like 3.
Oh,
nobody wants to see me
on remotes and whatnot. But man,
look at Mama and Papa Joe said great cooks at every comp today. Totally agree.
Yeah, and Clarence, you're a big part of why that happens, man. He's got a great class, and he's a great instructor, and we talked about that earlier, Clarence. You weren't here on, but we talked about the influences of comp cooks, YouTube, all this other stuff that were not accessible back in the day. Just probably 17 prior to year 17. Now, all these cooks and all these young guys that are coming on and doing well, and maybe they take your advice. Maybe they're doing what you did. Is hey, let's reach out right away. Let's learn all these basics from these comp cooks that are successful. And let's get this solid ground before we go out there and try something. But
let's be honest, each of us, even if you don't have deep pockets, if you've been competing more than a couple of years, you're bumping 6 figures by the time you pay for a trailer and gas, and a competition costs you $1,000. I don't care if you're having it in your front yard, it costs you $1,000 by the time you buy meat and wood and the depreciation on your trailer and your pit and all that stuff. I mean, some people are bumping, $100,000 just within a few years. So if you're going to drop that type of money, be smart with it. Go ahead and talk to the people that have reinvented the wheel, and get better before you even start.
Those are the guys that They got it going on. When they're changing, they're, like you said, reinventing. Or maybe they're doing something that's just so off base to where it's that could, and you never know if it works until you go to a contest and do it. My good friend Phil Breeden, he's like, I don't practice at home. I practice at contests because that's where you get the feedback.
That's what Travis Clark told me,
he
too. He said, I've never practiced a day in my life.
He said the only thing you learn at home is what not to do, not what wins. Yeah. So, and it's great advice, and it sucks because you got to go out and spend some money to learn the lesson when you turn in your food.
But then you also, I know you're trying to wrap up, but I know that whenever I took Travis Clark's class, I immediately went out and ran his exact same recipes and still finished next to last. So you still got to take those recipes and learn how to cook. Don't get me wrong. You can buy anybody's recipes. Until you learn to cook, you're not going to be successful. So yes, you can get those recipes. You can do all this good stuff, but you still have to learn the process.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Man, I hate to wrap this up, but I think we're the only ones here.
Oh, we are. Actually, your wife's doing donuts out in the field. So,
all right. Everett Barbecue, which I love. I heard on the first day of CG's class is painting his Mr. Miyagi style. That might be true, and I wouldn't doubt if that happens. But man, let me get a quick sponsor shout out one more time before we get out of here. But what a great show so far tonight, man! Sure. This has been fun. Shout out to our great sponsors, Rec Tech, Cosmos Q Products, Texas Pepper Jelly, Briscoe Ranch Cook-Off at the Crossroads, LC Barbecue, Rick's RV Rental and Repair, Eureka Heights Brew Company, Chicken Fried Barbecue Grinds, Jay Harding and Company, Texas Oil Dust, Bull Printing, Wraps and Graphics, and the Barbecue Store in Hempstead. Thank you for supporting the So Smokin' Gooder Show. Absolutely. Sponsors, thank you so much for supporting the show. We are coming up pretty quickly. We do our sponsorships from the end of June through, we start up in July. So if you guys want to be a part of the show and you want to hook up with us and become a sponsor of the show, we'd love to have you. We're just getting started, man. I know we've been at this for 5 years. We're going to have our 5-year anniversary.
That's crazy.
In July. We're going to have a Gooder Gang meetup, guys, and we have shirts coming out for your Gooder Gang, and I appreciate the community that we've established. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this show every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. You guys know where to be, right here on our Facebook and our YouTube. Our YouTube channel is growing. We're up to 350. We started from the bottom, and we're up to 350. So it's a slow process, but, man, we're loving it. And we're trying to do the same thing on Twitch. A lot of guys don't know how to cook barbecue on the Twitch. It's a younger audience, and so we're trying to grow that as well. But, guys, thank you so much for supporting this show. We love it. We love doing this. And like I said, Case and I always say, hey, we're having fun doing it. I hope you guys are having fun listening to it. So, all right, guys, that is going to wrap up tonight's show. Danny, you've been a great interview. It felt
I appreciate it.
It's kind of fun to get face to face with somebody. I think the interaction's a little better. But hey, the way we are, we can't always have a face to face. But these on locations have been really cool.
For sure.
He said, "Great job, Danny. You need Case Hahn."
Oh,
God, he did not like it.
Damn, Caldwell.
When's the meetup in July? I haven't figured that out, Jared, but I will get that. We'll have some Gooder Gang shirts so you guys can put it on your body how much you support the show. But
we need a women's tank top for Jaybird. If y'all don't know Jaybird, you need to meet him.
Yeah, if you guys don't know the show, we do have women's tank tops, so we will definitely put those out as well. Yeah, great road show. Thank you, Wes. We saw Wes. We'll see him next weekend at the Taffer Cook-Off. Again, guys, lots of great events to support this weekend. I know it's Easter weekend, and I know it's hard to get out and do that, but these promoters are putting on these events for you. If you can get out and support them, you guys want to come see me, I will be, and Danny will be out there as well. We'll be in Waco at the McGregor's Lions Club double header.
We got Taffer in 2 weeks.
And Taffer in next weekend.
Next
weekend. Yep. All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap up the show for tonight. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm going to try some of this background music. Let's see. Let's see if it plays. No. Hold on, guys.
The 3 of you that are still there, hold on.
There's 29 still there.
Oh, my bad.
All right, we're playing out some
I've had 100 beers.
Let's do this one. All right, that's more of our style. All right, that's going to wrap up the show for tonight. Thank you to Danny Regan, my guest tonight.
Thank you, sir.
I appreciate you coming on the show. That was fun, man. That was
awesome.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
that was a lot of fun. All right, guys, we'll be back next weekend at 8 o'clock. We're going to have the OG of this kind of genre, this kind of barbecue show genre. We're going to have Greg Rempe from the Barbecue Central show. Yes.
Nice.
He will be our guest next weekend. That's going to be
one of the first ones to start the podcast.
He's the OG, man. He is the OG, and we're going to give him his proper props and get him on the show. I hope he doesn't hate us too much, because
he won't hate you. He'll hate Case.
My other show partner may give him a little crap, but
maybe I'm on 2 weeks in a row to help you.
Case Hahn is still watching next week. California Barbecue Talk. Yeah, play your new walk-up song. Yeah,
that was the one you were gonna do.
Yeah, that was it. No after show, Bill. We got to get. They're kicking us out. Actually, they're not.
We're really the only ones here. We got 200 acres by ourselves.
We're literally the only ones here. All right, that's gonna wrap the show, guys. As Case would say, do you know what Case says to wrap up the show?
God, I don't.
He says, "Good night, Barbecue Nation."
Good night, Barbecue Nation.
And you too.
And you too.
And you too, California.
I can never feel Case's shoes.
All right, guys. That's going to wrap it up, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. We'll see you guys next Wednesday, 8 o'clock, right here. See y'all.